LSU. I said they ain't ready for the LSU. No, they ain't ready for the LSU, huh? They ain't ready for the LSU. No, they ain't ready for the LSU. We the best in the league if you looking for talent. LSU going hard, but we beat Alabama, then we going out to Florida. Drown the Gators, everybody getting bucked when we step in the stadium. This the LSU anthem, you know it's a hit. You don't know another rapper two-step like this. See me screaming out the window, yelling purple and gold. I'm an LSU fan, girl, you know how we roll now. Back and back it on up, hey. 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 Way down in the back.
Yeah, T.A. We are live Friday night here in the Tigers Avenue show. Really looking forward to a great show. I mean, Zach, this is the time we have all been waiting here for so long where the baseball season is getting kicked off. It's rolling. You know, we're excited about this season. It's a really great time to be a Tiger right now considering this past week. So, Zach, but just a few things here around the SEC of note. Few things around the SEC of note.
I know you're going to bring this up.
Huh? You said what now?
I know you're going to bring this up.
Yeah, I mean, you got to cover. You got to cover these things. Two things actually. The first one you may not be expecting. Ole Miss has fired their head coach, Kermit Davis, the basketball team. That is important for two reasons. Number one, LSU obviously is about to go and play Ole Miss in Oxford here in the next few weeks, I believe. I think that's one of the final preseason games.
I think they're playing them this Saturday, right? Are they not playing them this Saturday?
You may be correct. It's in Oxford. You go head down there?
I'm pretty positive they're playing this Saturday.
You going to go watch it?
No.
Oh, come on. They just fired their coach. Ole Miss is bad. We're bad. They fired their coach. You need to go on down there and watch it. But, hey, Kenny may be able to get you in there for free.
Sure, I might be able to walk in.
You said what now?
I might be able to just walk straight in.
You might be able to, considering the state of the program. They're just as bad as LSU right now. So here's the deal. Kermit Davis has been fired. It's important because LSU is about to play them. And maybe LSU can get on a little win streak here at the end of the season. Maybe we get a little win streak going. Okay. Another reason, Zach, and this one has a little bit bigger implications here. Some people have been reporting the names that have been going around. Yeah. One of them is none other than Will Wade. So here's my thought. Number one, my first thought is still nothing has been done, in terms of punishment or what they're going to do, what sanctions they're going to put out because of the allegations. What do we don't even know the final resolution to this yet. So I get why. I mean, let's be honest, Zach. I mean, let's be real. Ole Miss goes and hires Will Wade. I think it's a good hire. I mean, don't get me wrong. I think it's a good hire for Ole Miss. I think it's a good hire for Ole Miss because I really genuinely believe that Ole Miss doesn't care that much about their men's basketball program. Just being honest. I mean, they hire decent coaches, okay coaches. When it comes to their hire, and I think Andy Kennedy, the coach before Kermit Davis. I think he was a solid coach. Kermit Davis was never did really anything at all. So I don't really genuinely know how much they care. But maybe they go out and try to go get Will Wade. I also saw a name Chris Beard. Honestly, I don't know who Chris Beard is, but apparently Chris Beard and Will Wade, both of these guys on their list, have things that are unresolved. So we'll see how that plays out. But Zach, how would you feel? How would you feel if Ole Miss ends up hiring Will Wade?
I I don't know because there's a lot of mixed opinions on Will Wade.
Dude,
Yeah.
I don't know if the fan base has ever been so split on something.
Yeah, it's
Anyways, go ahead.
definitely split over the feelings on Will Wade. I love that Will brought this program to where it was, but he also left it where it's at right now. So, I mean,
Because of
honestly,
what he did, it's where it's at right now.
yeah. So it's a kind of love-hate relationship. You love what he did for the program while he was here, but you hate what he was doing behind the scenes that left the program in shambles. Can he build a program, without buying players? I mean, but it's already happening, obviously, as we know. So, I mean, he just went
Yeah.
about it the wrong way, right? It's already happening. We know it's happening in men's
Well,
men's
he ain't got to
basketball.
worry about that now. He's
Yeah,
NIL to do
he's
it.
got NIL deals, so he really doesn't have to worry about that now. So it sucks because it's an opponent that you're going to see a lot as an LSU fan if he goes to Ole Miss. And I do think he's a good coach. We know he's not an X's and O's coach. Despite the mixed opinions, I do think he's a pretty good coach. I'm not saying he's a great coach. I'm not saying he's Coach K out here or Coach
No,
Williams, but
no.
he's a good coach. And with McMahon, we're gonna have to wait and see. I completely trust Scott Woodward on that hire, and he's having to deal with, as you have put it, a team that was stitched together, band-aided together, whatever you want to
Yeah.
call it.
Yes.
So again, 0 scholarships when he came. So we'll see how Matt McMahon works out here in the next coming years. I think, this upcoming off season is going to be massive for him and what he does in the portal and on the recruiting trail.
Yeah.
So we're going to really find out honestly whether or not Matt McMahon can live up to the hype that he was brought into here at LSU. But
Yeah.
I think the biggest thing is you just hate to see that it is an opponent you're going to see a lot. I'd much rather him go out and be on any other team that LSU doesn't see.
ACC or something like
Yes,
that.
and it really doesn't matter. Just
Yeah.
a team that you're not going to see as much because it's going to suck if he starts having a lot of success there. And Matt McMahon maybe doesn't have as much success as he had or will have at Ole Miss if he goes there. So either
Look,
way,
here's the reality of the situation. I mean, whether you like it or not, you had to fire the guy.
Yeah,
I mean,
of
you
course.
had to.
Yeah.
If you don't, NCAA probably brings the boom down on you. And maybe even football feels the effect of that. Like, did we like the Will Wade era and what it brought? Like, I mean, I'm not going to sit here and lie. I liked it. There was energy within the program. There was talent here. The whole General Wade thing, the boot up era. I mean, it was fun. I mean, let's be real.
It got
fun.
people in a lot like what Kim Mulkey's doing now with women's basketball.
Yes. Absolutely.
It got people more involved in the men's basketball.
Yeah, exactly. So it was fun, but he got caught. It's just the reality of the situation. People, a lot of people are upset because Bill Self, he's still over there coaching. Guys, Bill Self was not on federal wiretap. Will Wade was. Okay, if you want me to be honest, if he's not on a federal wiretap, he might be still your coach. But when you're on a federal wiretap, they're going to do some digging, and they did some digging, and they find out you paid the dude out of a joint account with your wife. Like, you did it to yourself. Like, you can be mad all you want, but it was the right move. You can't look past that, and you can't get around that. So whether you like it or not, it was the right decision, and it would really suck to see Will Wade get Ole Miss. I would agree. You don't want to see that, but it is what it is. I think Matt McMahon will pan out well. Guys, the reality is what we are is the product of the situation. The situation really sucks, so the team kind of really sucks.
Yeah.
Like, you gotta look at who's on our team, Zach. And I really don't want to. I'm not going to name a player, But if you think about it, there's guys in our starting lineup who lost positions, who were not starting and transferred to try and do so. And that's the player you have on your team. That's the player you have in your starting lineup. So it just is what it is. Oh, another thing. I need to move it along. We got talking about that. Tony Vitello, the boy.
What happened?
What happened? So, obviously they got the big transfer in Maui. Am I saying that right? Maui, the shortstop.
He ain't playing for him.
But as of right now, he is not eligible. And number two, now it looks like there's like an investigation into tampering. Yeah. And Tony Vitello is now on a self-imposed suspension for the weekend.
Yeah.
I just, man, that is so wonderful.
Can I answer some questions?
That is so wonderful. You
remember last year when there was like this big ordeal and kind of conspiracy theory, that Tennessee was, doing some sketchy things behind the scenes.
Yeah.
Maybe they were kind of boosting their players a little bit, because these guys were, throwing, high 80s, low 90s, and then now they're pumping 105, and that was somewhat a conspiracy, and now you got this. I'm not saying maybe we shouldn't be saying too much because we also got hit. We just got off the conversation with Will Wade, so but regardless,
paying players been going on for a long time.
Yeah, regardless,
juicing now you're affecting the game.
Yeah. Regardless, you talk that stuff like Tennessee fans have done. You need to back it up. And this season so far, you haven't backed it up. And now you're getting hit with this. Maybe you haven't been doing so well this season. Your coach has been a little distracted because he's known that this is coming down the pipe.
Man, them 2 losses to open the season. Ooh, it was so sweet. Ooh, ooh. I mean, the last 2 seasons, have they been good? Absolutely, they've been good. But have they done anything? No national titles.
All that hype last year to not even make it to Omaha.
Didn't even get to Omaha.
You had to at least make it to Omaha for all that trash talk.
And now you don't open the season with 2 losses? Zach, I feel like I need some validation, Zach. I said off air.
They dropped to 3.
I said off air to you that Tennessee was not going to be as good. Did I not?
Mm-hmm.
I want some credit for that. And boy, when I watched the first game, I was like, it's a whole new lineup. It's a whole new lineup. And by the way, Zach, there is a player. Let me touch by the Trinity.
Sorry, those listening to the podcast. We got Blake and others have been commenting on Reagan's beard and how much they appreciate it.
It is very red looking right now. It's probably because this big old light's right in front of my.
He's a redheaded Kris Kringle.
Yes. It is a very red beard.
Red bearded Kris Kringle. Anyways.
But Zach, by the way, Kyle Booker, who's in the starting lineup for Tennessee, played for DeSoto Central. I'll cheer for Kyle Booker, but I ain't cheering for nobody else on that team.
When did he graduate?
He's a junior. He's been going for a while now. He graduated with Cameron James.
Oh, okay. So he graduated your class or class below you?
No. He's like 2 years behind me or something like that.
2 years behind you. Okay.
He's a junior now.
Gotcha.
I'm a junior, and I was 2 years. I was 2 years removed from high school before I actually started college. So, anyways, so that's happening right now, and it feels sweet because I was so sick and tired of the Vols and how they've acted and how they've carried themselves and all their swagger and their pomp and their piety and their nothing to show for it. And man, it just feels really sweet. So anyways, all that's going on right now. Baseball weekend, though, we need to recap it. The Tigers kick it off with Western Michigan. Zach, what were your thoughts on this past weekend? What did you take away? What did you love? What did you not like? General thoughts on what you've seen so far. I mean, well, obviously, not even this past weekend. We're one game into the round right now. Kansas State beat them today, 7-3.
Game as well between all.
So what's your thoughts so far?
So I think there was a lot of hype coming into the season, and I was really impressed. They did what they were supposed to do with an inferior opponent. I really, really loved getting to see Paul Skeens and him come out and just absolutely dominate, throwing 12 Ks. He went a long way through 90-something pitches. That was really impressive to see him extend like that on the very first game of the season. I would say probably the most disappointing thing on the weekend was probably Chase Shores. A lot of hype around him coming out of high school and, getting announced at the Sunday Star. He struggled a little bit with his command and, got touched a bit, but I expect him to mature and grow out of that. I definitely think he's going to do great things for us this season. And, by no means am I overlooking him, for the future. So, but I mean, young freshman came in, didn't perform to the best of his abilities. That was a little disappointing, but hey, what was impressive, Ty Floyd came in. Was it Dutton or Collins that also came in?
Dutton followed Chase Shores.
Yeah. Dutton and Floyd came in and they looked great. Collins also had kind of a rough outing. That was disappointing to see. I really loved the pitching. I love to see what we did pitching wise. I expected the offense. By the way, you and Demui owe me something because I was the only one that took the under on the home runs.
I took the under.
You took the under?
I took the under.
Okay. Yeah. Well, then Demui owes us something because they did not hit 9 home runs. No. but
the weather really kind of affected that.
Yeah. And the wind was bad. So anyways, besides that, obviously it sucked. Tommy White comes up and there's so much
oh my gosh.
Tommy White, baby, bangs a single up the middle and you're like,
RBI. First pitch.
Yeah. And you're like, let's go. And then they try to pick him up, which, I mean, by the way, Tommy White should never have a pitcher throwing over to first base. We shouldn't be attempting to steal with Tommy White.
It may have been a clock management thing, with these clocks now.
Look, Tommy White is an athletic dude, but he ain't going to be stealing bases, right? He ain't going to be stealing bases, okay? So, it sucked that happened and, of course, dislocated his shoulder and, luckily he came back today and actually got a base hit. I think he was 1 for 3 or 1 for 4.
I believe he was 1 for 3. Yeah.
Something like that. So, you could definitely tell he was still kind of dealing with some pain and so anyways, but overall great weekend to start. Tuesday was awesome just to, see kind of a struggle. I mean, the biggest thing for Tuesday was,
Hurd.
Thatcher Hurd, struggled.
Tough start,
And, I would think probably part of that has to do with, he's probably not 100% still. He's probably still battling back from his injury that he had. And, but what you saw is you saw a bullpen that came and shut the door. Christian Little came in and shut the door. I have loved getting to see Christian Little come in.
Christian Little's been great.
Dude, Christian Little, Ty Floyd, and now you got Riley Cooper. Those are guys, and I didn't even mention Riley Cooper from the weekend, who dominated in his start. A lot of people are like, why is he starting? Dude, he dominated. Dominated. Now, again, it was Western Michigan, We look back to last year and we're like, shoot, Blake Money dominated, when he came out. But, I understand the quality of the opponent wasn't great, but to see guys like Cooper and Christian Little and Ty Floyd and Dutton, and to see those guys come in and just absolutely dominate, really, really encouraging for this pitching staff. You definitely have taken a big step. I wouldn't say, massive step up, but you've taken a pretty good step up in the pitching staff this season, especially starting wise. The bullpen is there. Can we find somebody that can eventually become, the everyday closer? So we'll see. So that was this weekend, but then you had today, really a pitching battle. And,
for a while,
Kansas State did really good on the mound, but I tweeted it out. You're just not going to be able to hold this lineup down for 9 straight innings. You're just not, maybe, once we get into SEC play, they face an ace that does do that and they have an off night. But it's going to be really, really difficult in order to hold this team down 9 straight innings and they not hang up a crooked number. It's going to happen. And that's what happened in this game in the 6th inning. Or maybe it was it the 6th inning or 7th inning? Either way, both, you know,
6th and 7th.
Yeah.
But they scored 2 and then 4.
Which I know in the 6th, they kind of got some runs because of Kansas State blunders. You know, they had
the 2 runs.
They had the wild pitch. So the 7th inning was more so LSU, you know, finally we finally saw what LSU is, and that's just they can hit the ball. You saw back-to-back singles?
3 in a row.
3 in a row. 2 of them. One of them came from a veteran in Gavin Dugas, who got down to 2 strikes. Brady Neal got down 0-2, and a freshman comes up, gets a hit. Really, really good. So I really like what I've seen so far. The fielding has been phenomenal. And, I mean, honestly, I don't know what else to say. I need to shut up so I can let you actually say something about this team.
No, I mean, only 1 error so far, and the only error has come in the final inning of today's game with a freshman in Gavin Guidry. And really, it isn't even that bad of a – he didn't bobble the ball around or bounce off his glove or anything. He really took a bad angle at it. Hard hit ball, should have waited back on it. Some of the commentators mentioned that. He charged it, probably should have waited on it because it was hard hit. So really clean fielding-wise so far. Been very pleased with that compared to last season. Obviously, it's early, so we'll continue to keep an eye on that, but really sharp so far. Zach, here's my stars right now. The guys that have just been outstanding. Number 1, well, this is in no particular order. I'm not like listing them in number one or whatever. Christian Little was one of the guys I was going to mention. I mean, just been spot on when he comes out of the bullpen. Has looked great. Gavin Dugas has just about sealed the deal at second base, brother.
Yeah, just give it to him.
He
may have some slumps, but right now, I mean, he is your everyday second baseman.
Bro, he is your everyday second baseman. Number 1, he's hitting constantly. I mean, all the time hitting. I think he had 2 more hits today. I think he was 6 for 8 against Western Michigan. With 2 home runs already. And then, people were like, maybe Napolt will be over at second because his defense. Homie, Gavin Dugas laid out today and made a play. Like,
insane.
Dude, he's your second baseman.
Plays by your second and first baseman because Jared Jones had a great play when he caught
absolutely.
He had the pop fly
in the net.
Into the net. Yeah.
Oh, absolutely.
The defense has been phenomenal.
So Christian Little and Gavin Dugas, and then you just named my last star so far is Jared Jones. Like, dude is playing like a veteran.
The hit today when he went down to a knee.
Oh my gosh!
Extended, went down to a knee, and went and got it, and almost hit it out.
Hit it off the wall. I mean,
407.
Huge play to drive in 2 runs. I mean, just been incredible. And God Almighty, when he hit that home run against Southern, oh my, what a nuke! I mean, the trajectory off the bat was insane. Yeah. I mean, it was a shot out off the scoreboard, and there were people that were saying like they thought it was going to clear it. Like it was about 5 feet short of clearing the scoreboard. I mean, just a nuke. He is going to be, I mean, just special.
Hey, you get him for another 2 years.
And this year and 2 years after that. I mean, he's a special player. I really believe with the way, and also he's not. I wouldn't say star-like, but Brady Neal's been very solid at the plate. Yeah, been solid catching. I think there was a pass ball today that he had, first one of the season. But man, with Brady Neal playing the way he is as a freshman, taking the job, it almost feels like 100% sure that next year Jared Jones is your first baseman.
Yeah.
That's really what it feels like. And then maybe like Ethan Frey takes your DH spot.
Yeah.
I mean, he's going to be in the lineup the rest of his career. Just an incredible player. Today, oh man, I get it because the injury. I do not like seeing Trey Morgan in the outfield. I don't like it one single bit. I want him at first base. And then, of course, he goes out there and runs smack into the wall.
Oh.
Kind of tweaks his wrist a little bit. I'm like, ugh,
yeah.
I want him at first base. I didn't like it at all. But I get it, though. So here's the situation, right? Trey, they wanted to put Tommy White back in the lineup. Yeah. But he can't really field right now. So Napolt's going to be there. They're going to make Tommy the DH. That really kicks Joe Bear out because you want Bear Jones and Trey Morgan in the lineup. Yeah. And Bear obviously ain't playing the outfield. And you got to have a guy to play third base, so Napolt is that guy. Which, by the way, Napolt got his first hit today. Hasn't been impressive at the plate, but defensively is very sound.
Well, I mean, even in his outs, he's hit the ball really hard.
He has. He's got RBIs. He's made a few RBIs. He's done what he needed to do. He hasn't been bad. He just hasn't got a hit, Sure. But he got it today. But he feels like the odd guy out, right? Like when Tommy White is healthy, your lineup is probably going to be Joe Bear left field. Right field still feels like it's up in the air. I think Paxton Clean and Josh Pearson are going to be back and forth all year long. But you're going to
too. I mean, Joe Bear's.
Well, Joe Bear's going to be left. Joe Bear's going to be your left fielder. Right field.
I'm just saying right. I mean, because Joe Bear could go play right and Clean could be out and left, or Josh could be out and left.
Well, yeah, that seems like it's going to be somewhat of a rotation. But so far, you'd like to see Joe Bear in the lineup. So far. And then Tommy White will be at third, and Trey Morgan obviously will be back at first, like it should be.
Just got to get White healthy.
But so I've been really impressed so far. Riley Cooper really impressed me on Saturday. I've been pleased. They've done what I've expected them to do so far. And one thing we have not mentioned, Zach, dude, Trey Morgan hitting the cycle against Southern was just, special. That was special. They, and in order, and he did it in order, Zach. Like that, I don't know. The last times a player hit the cycle in a game was Mikey Montuk back in like 2010 or 2011, I think. But
back then,
I don't know if there's ever been a player to hit it in order like that in LSU history.
It's really rare.
Like, I want to know. But, I mean, man, what a day for Trey. A single, double, triple, and then, a blast to the exclamation point on the game to really seal the deal, make it 18-4. Was awesome. The only concern that I have was Thatcher Hurd. And like you said, seems like he may be still little dealing with that shoulder coming off that surgery. So we'll see. But man, been great so far. You know what's kind of crazy, Zach? And this may be weird to say. But it feels like Dylan Cruz has been a little quiet. Is it just me?
He was good today, though.
I'm saying he was good, but like he had his one home run. He hasn't been bad, but it's been quiet to what you're used to.
It's because he's been doing what he does, like, and you've just come to expect it. So now, because it's his junior year and he's a potential number one pick, there's massive hype around him,
yeah.
And obviously it being his last year, there's a major high expectations. And so, but he's still playing great.
And I will say, it may feel that way because he got hit by the ball three times against Southern and walked.
Yeah.
And he got walked a fourth time. So
he was on base all 5 times. He just didn't get a hit because he couldn't get a hit.
But so I'm really pleased so far. I feel really great for Gavin Dugas.
Oh, me too.
But the one thing I want to say is, man, Jay Johnson is building a monster. This freshman class is
Impressive.
special. It's special. Bear Jones, dude. Ethan Fry, whatever you say it, Fry.
I'm more of a
He's
Frey
gonna be
guy
great.
myself, but whatever.
He's gonna be great. Like him and Bear Jones. I think it was. I'm drawing a blank. Demouy, who was like, you kind of feel like those are the Bash brothers. Like their size, their build, they're so similar.
They're the first guys off the bus.
Yeah, like
holy crap, are we playing a football team or a baseball
those are
team?
freshmen, dude. Those are freshmen.
Yeah.
Gavin Guidry, I know he made the error today, but he made a solid play the other day at second base. Got a hit as well.
Laid out.
I think he drove in a few runs against Southern. Special stuff from this freshman class. Really excited about them. Dude, you think about it, like Nick Paul back in the fall was leading the team in hitting. So really excited about these guys. I'm pumped to see how it goes moving forward. But, Zach, to preview a little bit tomorrow's going to be a tough test, Zach.
It's going to be the biggest game of the season so far.
Absolutely. You're facing Brody Brett, I think is how you pronounce it, or Brett. Dude, last weekend had 5 innings, and I think he had 10 strikeouts.
That's correct.
Iowa has a very solid 1-2 punch with their Friday, Saturday guys. Very good. So can their offense keep up with LSU once we get into that bullpen? We'll see. Can we crack him early a little bit? We'll see. But I'm very excited to see what we can do against a guy like this who is very clearly talented and just came off a big game. I'm excited to see what we can do against this team. So, I mean, what are your thoughts on tomorrow? And, maybe Riley Cooper does the same thing, and we'll see another pitching duel for a while.
Well, the advantage I think LSU has in this game is their lineup, because from what I understand and from the research that I've done, Iowa's got, they've got a okay lineup. They're not going to wow you with they're hitting the ball. I mean, I'm knock on wood, I say that, and then who knows, they come out there tomorrow and they're just swinging, and they get with everything. That's usually how it goes. So, but from what we know, not a good hitting team. Okay. They are going to, quite the opposite of Kansas State and Sam Houston. From what we know with Kansas State and Sam Houston, good lineups. They have struggled with their pitching. It's the pitching that is the problem with both those teams. It's the opposite with Iowa. Their pitching is there. The lineup is not. So I really feel like it's going to be probably a really close game early. And then in those late innings, LSU's offense is going to have to pull through. We'll see. You kind of feel like, Reagan, because of the high expectations this team has and that number 1 that sits by their logo, you're kind of just waiting for that moment where, because you're going to get everybody's best, right? You're the number 1 team in the country. Everybody's been like, this arguably might be the best roster we've ever seen on a college baseball team. You've got this guy's first-round draft pick, this guy's first-round draft pick, these freshmen who are potential first-round draft picks coming up. Like, there's a lot of high expectations.
Yeah.
And because of that, you're going to get everybody's best. And that's why, like, when we did the hype video, it was all about the mentality, right? You have to have the mentality that, hey, even though we have these high escalates, I got to still come out here and I still have to execute. The pitcher still got to execute. Hitters still got to execute. Because you're going to get everybody's best. And so because you're going to get everybody's best, you got to give your best. And, tomorrow you're going to get Iowa's best. You're going to get their best pitcher. And so LSU is going to have to come out. Riley Cooper is going to have to execute his pitches. He's going to have to hit his spots. And luckily you're facing a lineup that he should be able to do well against.
Yeah.
But for the LSU lineup, the matchup obviously is going to be this LSU lineup versus Brody Breck, as the pitcher for Iowa. So we're going to have to see how he does. The biggest thing for me is you're going to have to make him work. He may get outs, but you need to make him work. He is a strikeout thrower. Don't let him strike you out. Make him work.
Run that pitch count up.
Run that pitch count up. Get him out of the ball game early.
Yeah.
That's what LSU needs to do tomorrow to be successful.
Real quick, and then we'll move forward, Zach. How about again to recognize Paul Skeens has a really rough inning. The first inning, threw 40 pitches in the first inning.
Insane.
He finished with 98 in the sixth inning. That means over the course of the next 5 innings, he was averaging around 11, 12 pitches an inning and pitched 11 strikeouts and held Kansas State in check after a bad start. Really, really impressive stuff from him. He's going to be special all year long.
For sure.
All right, Zach, I do want to address that comment from Peyton real quick, that last comment there. Dude, no kidding. Like, the slide in the home today was so awkward. Like, for a second, I was like, bro, if he just tore his ACL sliding into home base, I'm going to be so mad because it was so awkward looking, and it made it even worse when they did like a slow-mo look at it. When he was sliding it, I was like, oh, Lord.
And I think he missed it, too, because
Jordan
Thompson was like, put back on the back.
Yes, I'm like, yeah, you're right. He said used to hitting all them home runs. He ain't used to sliding. Somebody needs to teach this man to slide. Holy moly. I'm still waiting for that first time he came.
Whoever coached up Joe Burrow, once he made the transition to the NFL, get with Tommy White.
Yeah. A little quick update. Sam Houston State is in the third inning, currently up 1-0 on Iowa. So,
okay.
All right, Zach, let's talk a little basketball. Women's continue to win. That's just what they keep doing. Now, obviously, we know they lost to South Carolina. It's their only loss in the season. But Angel Reese continues to get double-doubles, and they keep winning, Zach. What's your thoughts so far, coming off the loss, how they've done in recent games?
I mean, they're doing what they're supposed to. They're just completely out-talenting these other teams that they're playing. As we know, let's see our rest of these games that we've got coming up for them. I need to look at the schedule real quick. They've got State at home this Sunday at 5 p.m. start time. So guess what? We can actually be able to watch that. Last game of the season, regular season, that is, for the LSU Tigers.
Finish off strong.
PMAC. Obviously, they'll be back in the PMAC because in women's college basketball, you host home games, depending on your seeding. So they'll be back. But last regular season game, so pack the PMAC, show out and show up. And look, State's not a bad team. They're 20-8 on the year, really not bad. And I think in the SEC, let's check real quick. Yeah, I mean they're fifth in the SEC, right behind Ole Miss. So this is a towards the top of the SEC team that you're playing at home. So you're going to get their best. Definitely want to see them come out and just do what they've been doing against State this upcoming Sunday, just dominate. But look, Reagan, I mentioned on Blake's show, you might end up seeing South Carolina 3 times this year.
Oh,
which is brutal to think about.
Maybe next time you won't have to play them in Columbia, though.
They're going to be. They have locked in the number 2 seed in the tournament. So obviously they will not see South Carolina unless they face them in the championship game.
Yeah.
So win all of your other games, you're going to be facing South Carolina in the championship game. So we'll have to wait and see. Now, we'll see what happens with I don't know. Which remind me, Reagan, how many teams make it in the SEC women's tournament?
In the women's?
If you know in the comments, or do you know, Reagan?
I really don't know, but I know that the men's is it used to be 12, but it seems like it's back to like they've added more, like all 14 make it in now. So maybe they did that with the women's as well, but I don't know if that's really much of a concern for.
If you know in the comments, send in the comments how many teams in the SEC women's make it to the tournament. I can't remember honestly. I want to say
you're talking about in the SEC tournament.
In the SEC, right. I want to say it's top 8, Reagan.
Maybe so.
I can't remember honestly. Maybe top 10. I'm honestly not sure. Either way, LSU's gonna be the 2 seed. They're gonna end up facing, if let's say they win their first game, they're gonna end up facing, which they may end up getting by. I don't know how it works. I need help from the comments. If they're in the semis, they're going to be facing probably somebody like Tennessee, Ole Miss. they would be facing Tennessee because Tennessee is going to be the 3 seed. Ole Miss will be the 4 seed. So Ole Miss is going to play South Carolina, and Ole Miss gave South Carolina a scare. They had the chance to win the game, and they turned the ball over. End up going to overtime. I remember texting Kenny.
It's all 14, by the way.
It's all 14 teams?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. I'm sure LSU will probably get 2 byes or maybe at least 1 bye.
Something like that, yeah.
Go check that out, Reagan. See if you can find us the projected playoff seating or whatever.
All right.
Bracket. So anyways, but Kenny messaged me and he's like, is Ole Miss going to beat South Carolina? I said, and I replied and said, if they go to overtime, they're not. And that's exactly what happened. They went to overtime and South Carolina won. You can't give South Carolina second chances. They gave South Carolina a second chance and it was over. So we're going to wait and see, what happens in the SEC tournament. Expect LSU to face a team like Tennessee. If they are in the semis, I'd hate to see LSU lose early to, one of the lower teams that they have, pretty much dominated in the regular season. So we'll have to wait and see. But I'm really interested to see if LSU can get into the championship game and how they would look this second time around against South Carolina, assuming it's going to be South Carolina and LSU. Because, obviously this game's not going to be at home for South Carolina. It'll be on the road, both teams at a neutral site. So I definitely want to see that. And then, once we get to the tournament, it's very possible and maybe likely that LSU sees South Carolina again in the NCAA tournament. So really right now, it doesn't look like there is anybody in LSU's way outside of South Carolina. Knock on wood. I'd hate to see them lose and get put out early in the SEC tournament. But we'll see, Reagan. What do you think?
Yeah, you really hope that. So based on what I was looking at just then, like LSU would face the 7 seed, I think it is, in the second round. The way it panned out last year, LSU was the 2 seed as well, and they played Kentucky, who was the 7 seed. But I think it depends on who wins in the bracket before, who comes and plays, and then it goes from there. I'm not sure if it's like single elimination. I think it's single elimination all the way through. I'm thinking of baseball's tournament. But, if you end up facing them 3 times, if we want to be honest, you hate to say this, but they're the best team in women's college basketball.
For sure.
But maybe you get them in the SEC tournament when they're not, a home team. You were in front of an 18,000, packed Columbia, South Carolina stadium or arena, and so they had all the advantage in the world in that game. Maybe you can clip them at a neutral site.
And if I remember correctly, the fouls were drastically in South Carolina's favor.
Absolutely.
I think it was 3-1 in free throws taken, the ratio, which is just awful.
Yeah.
Not good. And there was a lot of questionable calls. Again, not blaming on
there was a lot of no calls. There was a lot of no calls on the other end.
For sure. So we'll see what happens, Reagan, with the girls, but I'm really, really excited for the potential of a rematch.
So I need to see real quick. Let me look at it real quick with the men's basketball. So they beat Vanderbilt Wednesday night.
How about that?
Which, by the way, let's just take a moment and tip of the cap to Matt McMahon. Bro, when you go through a stretch like that, it is so hard to stay focused, to keep the guys together. And man, it seems like almost like when winning is contagious, losing becomes contagious sometimes. And maybe that started to happen a little bit. So against Vanderbilt, it was really good to go out there and get a win because, it just felt like it was never going to come. And let's see, you finish the season now with Ole Miss, Missouri, then you got to play Florida at Florida. Maybe you can get Ole Miss. The other 2 games, we'll have to wait and see. Ole Miss is. I'm trying to see what they are in conference. Let me go look at the standings here. Okay, so right now, Ole Miss is below you one game. So if you can go and beat them, you won't be the last seed in the tournament. So, and then maybe you can. Maybe if South Carolina loses one or two down the stretch, and maybe you can string some wins together here, maybe you won't even be the second to last. But Zach, in the past, you would have not even played. Like it would have been the end of the season for LSU in all reality, because only the top 12 made it. Right? Is that right?
I believe so. I mean, if there's, is that confirmed that all 14 teams will be?
Yes. They were showing it on Wednesday night, like what the bracket would look like if it was to stop today.
I'm assuming the top 4 get buys.
I think the top 4 get like 2 buys.
Yeah. And
then the other get like 1 bye. I think the bottom 4 is who have to play the whole thing. So it would be like right now it'd be LSU, Ole Miss, South Carolina, and State. You're going to be in the bottom 4 regardless because State has six conference wins. You're in the bottom 4 regardless. So you'll have to play the length of the tournament if you want it. This sounds dumb, but wouldn't it just be incredible if they punched a ticket, stole a bid or something? That would just be so incredible.
It's not going to happen, but
no, it's not. No, it's not. But man, that would be one of the biggest bid steals in a long time. I mean, you definitely. I mean, if LSU went out there and won the SEC tournament, you would be stealing a bid for sure. People talk about stolen bids, and sometimes it's like, well, I don't know if it's really a stolen bid. LSU goes out there, you're stealing a spot from somebody for sure.
Yes.
But
not going to happen. But
not going to happen. Yeah, reality is it's not going to happen.
Dream, right?
The SEC tournament is the end of your season. I don't even know what the qualifications are for the NIT. Like, I don't even know if they'll get in the NIT.
Probably not.
Like, I don't know what that.
Let's
I
see
don't know
what
how that
happens
works.
Next 3 games. Maybe you'll probably be favored against Ole Miss. Let's see. They play tomorrow at, I believe, 5 p.m. Yeah, 7:30 p.m. Ole Miss is actually favored 4.5.
Wow,
pretty interesting.
With a fired coach, it's probably just because it's in Oxford. That's all it is.
Yeah. Then on Wednesday you're going to have to play Missouri, and Missouri's good, man. So but you get them at home. So maybe you steal one there. Then you got to go to Florida against a team that's kind of like you record-wise. So, let's see what happens these next 3 games. But it'd be awesome to see them win all 3 of these games. I highly doubt that happens, but get back to 500, get above, maybe get above 500, awesome. Get to 16 and 15. That'd be really cool. And then get into the tournament and then just, go out there and ball out. Let's see what happens.
Here's the reality. I think what I'm looking forward to, and I mean every LSU fan is looking forward to this, is to see what Matt McMahon will do in this offseason. You got some work to do. You're losing KJ Williams this year, so yeah, you're gonna have to replace that, and you may have some roster turnover this year just because it hasn't been to what his standards are. I'm sure. And I think he'll have some honest conversations with guys and may have to move on from some folks. I mean, that's just reality. And I want to see how he does maybe in his second year with some time on his hands to remake this roster, be talented. Maybe at the end of the season, Zach, we still have it's about to be March and we still don't have a ruling, which, by the way, is inexcusable on the NCAA's part. Like, this whole process with the NCAA has just been absolutely absurd. I mean, this should never happen again. This is why I think they put in that rule, like if there's not a ruling within a certain amount of time or whatever, like it's done. And this is why. This has gone on for way too far long now. I mean, we should have a ruling. They were telling us whenever the NOAs came out, that there would be like a ruling in January of 2023. Guys, it's about to be March.
I know.
So we need a ruling so Matt McMahon can start moving forward. You know what I mean? Like, so the dude can have some solid information to be able to tell guys that he's recruiting. Because right now, the NCAA, with how they're handling the situation, is totally screwing Matt McMahon. Like he can't say anything definitively. You can't say anything to a recruit, other than just tell them the truth. You know what I mean? So, like, I've been seeing people bash McMahon for that, but it's like, dude, he can only say so much to a recruit to get him there. You know what I mean? And he could only do that this past year. So we'll see. I want a ruling, and then I want to see what he's going to do this offseason to remake this team. Because reality is, you got to. You have to. You're going to have to make up a lot of your points in KJ Williams. So that's what I'm looking forward to. Finish strong. We'll see how the offseason goes. I mean, that's really all you can say about men's basketball right now. All right, Zach, I think we need to hit a break, maybe come back and hit some comments, and then we'll wrap it up with our final thoughts on Round Rock this weekend, kind of our finishing thoughts on that right after this.
5-Star Hero, your intro and outro music for the Tigers Avenue show. They ain't ready for that LSU. Go check out all his other music on all the major platforms. Don't forget to follow him on Instagram at Saints Anthem and at Twitter at One Nation Doty. Don't forget to check out his Facebook page for all his Saints and LSU merchandise. Can't get any better than Sarah Klein Stevens, attorney at law. Her firm focuses on the needs of the elderly and maintaining their dignity throughout the process. Here for you, here for your family. Sarah Klein Stevens, attorney at law.
All right, Zach, right back at it again to kind of wrap up our thoughts here on Round Rock and its weekend. Zach, so far, in terms of D1 baseball, right now they get an F for their streaming service. You get an F.
We missed like the whole first inning pretty much.
Bro, Cajunomics had to come in the clutch there for a little bit.
Yeah,
everybody knows about Cajunomics, right?
I don't. I just saw that they commented.
Okay, Cajunomics, he's the guy who can stream some stuff. He'll stream the game for you. He was streaming it today, and when the website wasn't picking it up or whatever was going on, Cajunomics had it rolling somehow. I don't know. I don't know how he had it going, but Cajunomics always got it going.
Eventually, had a little pop-up that was like, this is copyrighted or whatever.
Yeah, eventually it went unavailable.
But then after that happened, D1 Baseball finally got it together.
It got it going, yeah. They did. But
I really didn't miss a whole lot.
But either way, dude, I paid for it. I don't want to watch Cajunomics.
I paid $25, over $25.
I got the weekend pass, so I want to watch it.
I did too. You better have it ready and rolling at 12 o'clock tomorrow.
I will say I'll cut them some slack. There's
probably a lot of people coming into that server.
Well, number one, there's a lot, but Kendall Rogers, of course, Kendall Rogers is D1 Baseball. He's kind of their guy. He posted on his Twitter that supposedly that it had been hacked, and I don't know who trying to hack D1 Baseball, but dude, it's it's $25. You really go in here and hack this system over $25 for a weekend pass? If you don't want to pay for the whole weekend, you can pay $10 to watch one game. But anyways, I'll cut them some slack because maybe they caught some flack from I don't know who they're trying to hack it. But obviously, I'm sure they did not plan to do that. They didn't want it to go that way. But another thing I'm disappointed about, Ben McDonald is one of the analysts for this whole streaming service this weekend. Why is Ben McDonald not doing the LSU game? He always does the LSU games. Ben McDonald's commentating tonight on the Sam Houston Iowa game. What are we doing?
Maybe because they didn't want to be biased, so
maybe, but the SEC network does that all the time. They put the local people, on those teams, So it's like I would like to hear Ben McDonald today a little bit. So
yeah.
Zach, what is your thoughts on this weekend? I know we shared a little bit on Iowa already. Maybe looking forward to Sam Houston a little bit. What do you look forward to this weekend? What do you want to see?
I really want to see LSU sweep, and I know, that's like, well, duh. But, a step up in opponent this weekend, obviously going from, Western Michigan to Kansas State, Sam Houston, Iowa, obviously a step up playing some Power 5 schools this weekend. So I definitely want to see them take care of business, continue what you've been doing, good fielding, hitting, and putting up crooked numbers, and then the pitching staff dominating. And then when you do have somebody that struggles, you have somebody that comes in and closes the door. That's what I want to see. So let's I want to see that tomorrow. I love that the game starts at 12. It's a Friday night, so I'm going to enjoy my Friday night, sleep in, and then probably wake up and go watch the game. So anyways, that's what I plan on doing. So, we'll see how it goes tomorrow. I'll be streaming it, D1 Baseball. Hopefully they got it together, like I said.
Yeah.
And then, but yeah, I want to see them. I fully expect them to win on Sunday. Let's see how this game goes tomorrow, and this what seems to be headed for a pitching duel.
Yeah, absolutely. I want to see what the lineup can do against some what's expected to be their biggest opponent in terms of pitching and talent on the mound. I think
it's a good pitcher. I mean, this is a
great pitcher. Again, last week I think it was 5 innings, pitched 10 strikeouts. So, I don't really remember what their opponent was last week. Maybe it was a subpar opponent. I don't know. But I'd love to see our lineup get after him more early than they did today against Kansas State. Kind of jump on him, take command of the game, get him out, get into the bullpen, take command of the game, run with it. Sam Houston State. I mean, as of right now, they got the lead on Iowa. So, take care of business is what I would say with that. Don't overlook an opponent. We saw. Now I know it ended up being a run rule, but Southern jumped on us early on Tuesday. You got to come ready to play every day when it comes to baseball. Every day you got to come ready to play, or you could get got. Zach, real quick, I know we mentioned Tony Vitello and Tennessee and their start to the season a little rough. I got to be honest, Zach. I don't know if you've been paying attention around the SEC, but
I have been. I went on
the SEC may not be as strong as we thought it was going to be.
So I went on, which, by the way, got to give our shout out to my good buddy JP, who just started a podcast.
Yeah,
is actually kind of a part of us. And he is doing a podcast that's just going to cover sports in general, just whatever sports going on. He's going to talk about it.
Yeah,
had me on his show for the first show. Really appreciate him, inviting me on. And that's what we talked about. The SEC, he asked me about college baseball, what has been a theme, what's been a storyline in college baseball here recently. And my big point that I made was that the SEC overall underwhelming.
Yeah.
Outside of Texas A&M, who actually lost during the midweek. Am I correct?
Lamar. Yep.
To Lamar. Outside of LSU, Florida, Ole Miss,
which Florida lost.
Florida recently lost. Who am I missing in the East? That had South Carolina. South Carolina's looking good.
South Carolina looks good.
Outside of really South Carolina, LSU, the SEC's taking some hits, man.
Arkansas looks good. They played tougher opponents last weekend. They lost one.
TCU. They did play TCU. Arkansas does look good. We'll see. But they also lost. They don't have an ace. They lost their ace at the beginning of the season, before the season started.
Wow.
So, overall, SEC underwhelming. I got to agree with you there. I really like LSU's chances, for a regular season championship and a run into the SEC tournament. Really like LSU's chances now that I've seen it. It was the first weekend. Let's see but there is some big matchups this weekend for the SEC. Vanderbilt plays UCLA. They host UCLA.
They're winning right now.
Alabama goes to Pepperdine. I'm forgetting who plays Arkansas State.
Ole Miss plays Maryland. That's 13 versus 4. Currently, Maryland is up 2-1 in the bottom of the third.
And Ole Miss is without their ace. They are without their ace this weekend.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's go look at some scores now that you mention it.
Alabama beat High Point.
Let's see. Georgia's winning against Princeton. Oh my goodness, Arizona State is
Killing
State and the dude. They're killing them. Vanderbilt is up on UCLA. That's good to see for Vanderbilt. Don't let them get hot. Florida is up on Cincinnati 6-2. Texas A&M, small lead on Portland 2-0 in the fourth. Auburn and USC are scoreless through three.
Yep.
Let's see. Am I missing anybody else? LSU obviously won. Arkansas killed Eastern Illinois.
South Carolina beat Penn today.
Alabama won. South Carolina had a win against
Tennessee
Penn.
won too.
Kentucky won. Tennessee, you said won?
Yeah, they beat Dayton 12-2.
Dude, if they don't drop them in the right rankings next week, I'm gonna be a little pissed. I'm already pissed that they didn't.
I don't see it happening, honestly. They haven't lost since those two losses. You know what I mean?
I think they'll drop them. Tony V's not coaching this weekend, but I think that announcement, that news, probably drop some. You want to do some comments?
Yeah, we get some comments real quick, and then we'll hit our last break and wrap it up after that.
All right. So, Miss Leslie Dupree has been a avid supporter of Tigers Avenue. I think she always watches after, from what I remember her talking to us. Really appreciate it. Miss Leslie, we would love to get to meet you. I know you're not Reagan, but I will be attending the Sanford game on Saturday, March the 11th, with some buddies of mine. Going to go down to Baton Rouge and maybe make a quick trip. We might end up traveling a little bit and staying the night Saturday night, but who knows? We might drive down that morning and then have just a late night drive back to get back before church on Sunday. But Miss Leslie, would love to get to meet you at some point. You have always been an avid supporter of us and have mentioned how you watch the shows afterwards because you're not able to usually watch whenever we go live. So we appreciate that. Tyler Townsend here saying what's up. Tyler, appreciate your support. By the way, Peyton said horrible to the D1 baseball coverage.
Yeah.
He said he did not buy a package. He had to bounce from YouTube to YouTube channel. Peyton, bite the bullet. Pay your $25. Apparently, they got the situation cleared up.
Pay $20 now. You got two more games left. It's better the day
pass. You can pay a cheaper amount now. So, anyways, pay for the weekend pass. Watch the next two games. Al Landry is in here. He said, "My guys, I'm really enjoying watching this Tiger baseball team so far. As we will continue to, Al. Really look forward. Let's see. Peyton said, if he's wild, you be patient and let him be. I'm assuming
he's wild if you be patient and let him be. I don't know who that is. Who's he talking about?
I'm assuming he's talking about Riley Cooper, maybe starting tomorrow. Peyton, who are you talking about here? Send a message in the comments. Al Landry said Arizona State scored 3 runs in the first inning against State this evening. Yeah, we saw
13-4.
Arizona State's actually
State lost to VMI last week in their opening weekend.
Yeah, State doesn't
lost to UL Monroe like 11-0 in the middle of the week. But now they're getting killed by Arizona State. State like sold their soul like LSU in 2019. They won it in 2021. These last 2 years, they like LSU 2019.
Payne said he did buy the package, but he didn't know about Cajun Boy. Yeah. He kind of, we tweeted out. And we're like, what the heck, D1 baseball? And he sent us a link, and we're like, all right, sweet. He was talking about the Iowa State. The Iowa starting pitcher. I'm sorry. So apparently, per Peyton, maybe gets a little wild if you're a little bit later on in the innings as his pitch count gets up there. So we'll see. Let's take a quick break, and then Reagan will be back to close out the show.
Make sure you go follow us on Twitter, TikTok, Instagram, and Facebook, all at Tigers Avenue, for daily updates on the show and all things LSU sports. If you're watching on YouTube, make sure to click off and hit that subscribe button at Tigers Avenue. We broadcast all of our shows live on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter.
All right. Right back. We may have a surprise show here in a second. Zeke's right here, so may get him in here for a brief moment. So, guys, we appreciate y'all joining in and interacting. Lots of comments tonight. We appreciate it. We love the feedback here. Zeke's slipping in here a little bit. It looks like he's got chips all over his face. Can you say go Tigers?
Go Tigers.
All right. Appreciate all y'all joining in. It's a great show. We'll be watching the game tomorrow at 12 o'clock against Iowa. Really looking forward to see what the guys can do against that pitcher. Next week, just a heads up, next week we will be doing 2 shows. We'll send out some updates on when those shows will be and what times they will be. So be looking out for that. 2 shows next week and moving forward in the baseball season. Appreciate y'all joining in tonight. It's always a pleasure. We love talking to LSU sports with all you guys. So we'll recap Round Rock earlier in the week next week. We'll see y'all there in the Tigers Avenue. 5-Star Hero, take us out. Zeke, say peace.